Do you like how I always talk right when you're about to start?
Yes, every single time, without fail. Quiet.
Don't
Hi,
do
everyone.
it.
Oh my God, I hate you.
I thought you were going to start laughing.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to OTTB on Tap. I'm Neve.
And I'm Emily. Hey, Neve, what's on tap today?
Today, we're back with another exciting round of evaluations. We know pedigree and conformation are always hot topics, and you all keep sending in great submissions. So we're diving into 3 listener-submitted OTTBs using only a conformation photo and their Jockey Club name to break down their pedigree, conformation, and potential for different disciplines. And of course, we'll throw in some fun predictions about what they might be like under saddle. This time around, we have a little bit of a theme. They're all gray.
Ooh, I do love a gray. And so does everybody else. I guess you love them or you hate them. First off, though, let's recap Volume 4 and reveal if we were right or if we were wrong in our evaluations. Love it or list it.
I know.
So our first horse was Buffalo Pride, really cute chestnut. And a kind of a recap of what we thought was that he had a very pleasant feeling pedigree. We like the names Gilded Time and Smart Strike. And I, for one, am a sucker for European lines in an American thoroughbred. To me, that often adds substance, hopefully soundness, and a good, though sometimes a little bit of a tougher brain. Tougher as in, I think, more stoic, not necessarily naughty. I also said I thought he was a lovely horse. I'll bet he's a springy mover with a nice ground covering trot and above average canter. He also shows the ability to rotate his front end nicely over jumps with plenty of power to push through behind. I'd love to sit on this one. And we got a novel back from his owner, Trisha.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you, Trisha. It was really sweet. She said, "Oh my gosh, I finally got a chance to listen to your evaluation of my quote unquote Buffalo Pride. Now Magnum's Ferrari. I just could not keep that name, LOL. And you nailed him. Long gush incoming." By the way, we should talk sometime about whether or not people want to keep Jockey Club names and what
that'd be a good topic.
The worst Jockey Club name ever, and if you kept it or not.
Yeah, that would be. We should do it like people submit their names.
Yeah. And weren't we going to do a game if it's like a
real name or a Jockey Club name?
Actor or
yes, or a Jockey Club name.
Anyway, she wrote a lot, but I will try to summarize here. She said she was actually so surprised to hear all of the traits can be directly attributed to his pedigree. I'll admit to not really researching it beyond a glance and recognizing a few names and knowing that Gilded Time tended to give his offspring a mature, sensible attitude towards life. So it was really neat to hear where the rest of his perfection came from. She's so cute. He really is the total package. Sound as a bell, barefoot. He has never worn shoes. He even raced barefoot.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's really cool. He has an amazing work ethic and a great mind. I think the only things he's ever failed at was being a racehorse. His races are hilarious. He looks asleep. And in fact, I think he raced 5 times and made actually $0, which I think is hard to do.
Yeah.
And he has never failed at turning down a Nature Valley oats and honey granola bar, which I think Neve is one of your favorites.
I used to feed those to my first thoroughbred, yeah.
Yeah. He's packed riders of all levels around like a champ since day one. He's jumped piles of poles to novice level cross country, 4-foot free jumping chutes, et cetera, mountain trail rides, desert trail rides, beach racing.
Side saddle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cowboy mounted shooting. Okay. He sounds like a really awesome horse. She wrote this last week and it was his 18th birthday. And he's been bomb-proof since the day she bought him at 4. And that's the picture that we had. Ed drove him to the airport and loaded him on an airplane to Alaska.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like we need to talk to this woman.
I think so too, actually.
This story is outrageous. He never blinked at any trailer I've asked him to climb into, even switching from a glorious horse limousine he'd been in for 3 days to my friend's one-horse clown car in a Walmart parking lot in Indiana.
This sounds familiar in a way.
He is a rock star, my heart horse, and I love to absolute bits. And she says we're welcome to come try him anytime.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
real
we
story.
both loved him. He was definitely of the three, the one that I was most drawn to in terms of my type, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like the total package, and it sounds like he is the total package. So that's
Oh,
very cool.
very cool. All right, who was next, Neve?
The next horse that we had was Cora Ann. We said, first of all, we love a good chestnut mare and a hot war horse on this podcast. We'll talk more about war horses when we get to our final horse, but if they retire sound, you usually can't break them. I honestly did not know Glasnost, but I absolutely know Awesome Again, Dynaformer, Roberto, and Dr. Fager on her top line. On her dam line, big names to me include Stephen Got Even and AP Indy, Summer Squall, and Moscow Ballet. Overall, we'd expect this girl to be tough and athletic, but with a good nature, buoyed by the influence of AP Indy and Awesome Again. Dynaformer and Roberto may add some sass, but this horse should be a good mover and jump a house off of pedigree alone. And I do remember that she is put together very similar to my RRP horse, and he is like quite a nice mover and looks like he's going to have a very big jump someday.
Yes.
So owner Kimberly Ann replied and said, I love the evaluation. You were pretty much spot on. She's an absolute powerhouse, can jump a house, and is a fancy mover and has a work ethic second to none and stamina for days. I think that she's one that would run a 5-star and wonder where the rest was. It's literally impossible to tire her out. That's a good thing and a bad thing sometimes. She was running prelim level eventing with Jamie Kellock and was aiming for upper level. She noted that they lesson with an Olympian who repeatedly told us she's a 5-star horse. She's quite small, which I think we guessed. She's about 15'2". And last year they had to retire her from upper levels as they found an old sesamoid fracture in the front left that would prevent her from the upper levels. So she's come home for a rest, and she'll do low-level jumpers with Kimberly, some hacking, and then Jamie and Kimberly have plans to breed her, which I think is very cool. She was an exceptional cross-country horse, an insanely quick front end, and super footwork. So she had zero issues getting herself out of trouble, but was ridiculously brave. There was zero stop ever. Her first prelim was at Bromont, and she went around like it was popsicle sticks. Side note, I was there when they did that prelim, and I remember following her from start to finish because I had looked up all the thoroughbreds that were there. And and she was unbelievable to watch.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was really wild. That the first year I go to Bromont, and I was nannying, so I was like, let me just look up all the thoroughbreds so I can just keep track of them and make some little videos and stuff. She was a very difficult restart as she was super anxious and a cribber, and when she didn't understand, she would bronc us off. But once she understood her new job, she mellowed a bit, LOL. And she actually did send us some video and stuff that we watched of her at Bromont. She just looks so cool. She said her bum is massive now and she looks like a quarter horse from the back. And she said that she still struggled a little bit with dressage, but she was just incredible for cross country. And she said she will never be a hunter, not in her DNA, LOL. So I think we were really spot on about her.
Yeah, that is really cool. And finally, we had a horse that I might have been a little bit enamored with, named Special Story. I think, Neve, you said that the horse basically had me written all over him.
Yes.
And I looked back to see what I wrote that I was going to say. And true to...
You're trying to play it cool.
Me trying to play it cool. I'd be interested in this horse. I think he's tough, sound, and athletic with a good balanced brain. Okay. No, I was pretty blown away by him. Of the three, this is the one I'd want to sit on most. He's the most my type. I'd expect him to be a good mover. Maybe not as spectacular as number 2, but he will have an exceptional rangy gallop and jump. I actually wonder if he's ever raced over fences. I think he would be a force to be reckoned with in the old long format eventing with stamina, bravery, and endurance. His owner, Morgan, said, wow, you guys really nailed Story. And no, Emily, you cannot steal my horse. You guys had me laughing good there. That picture was taken recently off the track. They retired him because of an injury. And he was a war horse. I think he made a ton of money. They retired him because of an injury he was still sound on, may I add. Super minor tear in his suspensory branch. I also did think he was longer through the back, but when I went and saw him in person, I fell even more in love with him. Everything was so proportionate, it evened out. And so she was worried about his back, but turns out she didn't have to worry. And she plans to do some jumping with him and wants to event him. He's super cool, very quiet, easy, straightforward, going under saddle. His second ride post-track was bareback. I do also think he was cut late, just how he acts around my mares. And he doesn't crib. He bangs his head around to some music every now and again, which we've seen a few like that. Yeah. Loves his peppermints. Personally, super great. Very smart. Around 16 too. And the biggest chest she's ever seen on a horse. And she says, Chelsea O'Brien, she is not going to use him for barrels. Sorry. He's definitely a jumper. But you guys nailed it. So thank you, Morgan, thank you, everybody, for sending us back what you thought.
Yeah, it's always really fun for us to find out because it's just, I don't know. It's like assessing somebody based on their Tinder profile or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It is pretty funny. So
it's like the guy with the fish or
they all, newsflash, they all have a picture with a fish. For some reason.
What I really like is when we finally post them online and the episode comes out, all the comments that end up with Chelsea chiming in and other people chiming in. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, we talk about the community a lot, and it's really cool to see people interacting and posting on each other's pages and things like that.
Please join in the conversation. We love it, especially about Morgan's horse because, Emily was
like, where does she live?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I have my own problem horse at home.
But not really. Morgan, just make sure the latch is closed on the stall front.
Stop. We need to find a money tree first.
Anyways, today we're back with another exciting round of evaluations. It's funny because we finished this one up, and every time we do research for them, I'm always so excited to start the next one. And I think I started researching for this episode immediately following this one. So it feels like there's this huge gap. And I guess it was a couple of weeks, but I was like, oh man, we're finally getting to do it. I'm really excited. So like we said earlier,
love doing these.
And Emily's been working tirelessly on grouping and organizing all of the submissions. So keep them coming. But we're starting to think of like different thematic elements. So in this particular episode, the horses all happen to be gray, but we're going to mix it up and do different things like that. So look forward to some thematic elements going forward.
Absolutely. And just a reminder that this is meant to be both educational and entertaining. These are just our takes on these horses based on experience and research. But at the end of the day, you don't ride the bloodlines or the conformation. And the OTTBs love to prove us wrong, and there are always exceptions to the rules.
Always.
We'll start by introducing each horse, sharing their Jockey Club name, race history, and breeding before jumping into our evaluations. And to keep things interesting, neither of us has shared our thoughts in advance, so we'll be reacting in real time. And today, we are going to be talking about the following horses who all happen to be gray, as Neve mentioned. Number 1 is Arazi's Honor, a mare by Honorable Dylan out of Arazi Exchange by Exchange Rate. Number 2 is Zephyrine, a mare by Exchange Rate out of Barbara's Love by Benchmark. And number 3 is Independent George, a gelding by Cozzene out of Daylight Ridge by Dejure.
If you would like to hear the rest of this evaluation, hop on over to ottbontap.supercast.com and sign up for either our backstretch access pass. And if you're already a member, just hop on over to the full episode. So you guys have probably noticed recently we started the Supercast to help support the podcast, to keep the mics and the lights on, so to speak. We are happy to do this podcast from the bottom of our hearts, and we have a lot of enthusiasm for it, but we would love to be able to do much more for you guys going forward, creating new content, video, and just to keep this podcast going. Supercast is the way that you can support us right now. We're not really looking for paid ad sponsorship because I know, as someone who listens to a lot of podcasts, I can find it really disruptive to the content. It's not that we won't eventually look for something to do that, but we're going to be pretty picky about that. So for now, we're just hoping that for those of you that can afford it and would like to support us in a small way, Supercast is the way that you can do that for us. And we appreciate each and every member.